I acknowledge the honourable member Kennedy Graham.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Green Party has a broadly similar approach, I think, to this bill as that which has been set out by all members here tonight. We recognise that the Victims of Crime Reform Bill is part of a broader package that the government is putting forward in terms of what they call a comprehensive work programme to improve the status of victims of crime. That is generated by, or this particular bill is generated by a concern that has been drawn from information from a range of sources that victims of crime find it difficult to understand criminal justice processes and their role in these processes, and that a number of victims would like a greater role in the criminal justice process and be better informed about the cases involving them, and a lack of visible complaints processes and oversight of victims' rights has limited the accountability of agencies. So there's a variety of difficulties and problems that I think are well recognised across parties, and there is a warrant for a further piece of reform legislation along these lines. So what does the legislation particularly propose? About 4 or 5 broad areas. On the victim impact statements, the bill would give victims greater freedom to express their feeling in their own words. It would give victims of serious crime the automatic right to read their statements in court. It would give victims of offending by children and young people the right to attend a youth court and submit a victim impact statement. It would allow photographs and drawings to be submitted as part of such a statement. Secondly, the bill would strengthen the changes in the victim notification system in various ways. It would widen the eligibility of victims who can receive notice. It would increase the number of victims who receive notice about bailed offenders. It would expand the information victims receive about offenders on short-term sentences. The bill would require justice sector agencies to have complaints processes and report annually to Parliament. It would ensure that victims' rights in the adult criminal jurisdiction are applied in the youth court jurisdiction, and it would get the Ministry of Justice to develop a victims' code to improve the responsiveness and accountability. Those are all broadly desirable goals, we think. And as a result, the Green Party is generally supportive of the bill. We think the clarity and slightly more expansive approach to victim impact statements will be helpful. The broadening into the youth justice area makes sense to us, and as does the increased focus on restorative justice. But I think it has been mentioned already, and we would certainly share some of the reservations that have been expressed. We think there is reason for pause, and we should not proceed too headlong with this bill. It does represent a diminution of the adversarial nature of our justice system that is based on a delicate relationship between the state and a criminal defendant. There are various questions that will need to be asked. For example, what is the impact on a victim who can make these statements to an offender in a court but might be denied a response from the offender? There is research which suggests that the victim can become more traumatised rather than less traumatised by that experience. And we need also to consider the impact on the offender and the impact of being publicly denounced without a right of reply. This bill draws, as I think has already been noted, from the Select Committee's report, Justice and Electoral Select Committee's report of 2007, Victims of Crime Inquiry, which was initiated by the Green Party and in which we had quite a role. And so we are keen to assess the extent to which the bill, either as it is currently drafted or might be amended through committee, might reflect the recommendations that came out of that committee report. That inquiry was a comprehensive look at what needs to be done to reform our justice system to become more inquisitorial and focus on protecting those who have been hurt by crime. The bill incorporates some aspects of the goal of becoming a more inquisitorial system, And it addresses some aspects that relate to protecting and helping those who have been hurt by crime. So to that extent, it reflects the committee's report. But the bill directly incorporates only 12 from the 38 recommendations in the report as we assess it. And most of the emphasis of the report's recommendations that have been included in the bill are among the easiest of the kind to include. So there's a need to scrutinise it in a little more thoroughly, and we certainly intend to do that. In short, we think the bill does not yet do enough to create support networks and fully fund counselling and support for victims. There are perhaps privacy issues around the victim notification system for former criminals. But we think that supporting the bill to the Select Committee will allow us to hear the evidence for and against the provisions of the bill. And so we're prepared to support it into first reading, simply stressing that there are flaws in the bill as it currently is drafted and that we intend to suggest constructive change. Thank you.